Hello, hello, and welcome once again to our Tuesday rendezvous of the Tech Show, the live Tech Show, where we answer your questions from 3 p.m. Eastern Time, North America. That's 1900 hours Universal Time. And of course, we are going to answer your questions today. So we are live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. My name is Gilles. I am a tech guy and YouTuber. And of course, this is Live Tech Show number 31. And we are May the 3rd, 2016. Incredible how time flies. I just don't see the months. Just incredible. So welcome to everyone on board. And hope that you enjoy our show today. And basically, we are going to have a lot of questions that are already here and that people have asked during the week. And if you have any questions, just send your questions to help with your computers at gmail.com. That's where I answer the questions. So basically, that's where you got to send them. So hello, everyone. Welcome to this live show. So you like the shows? You like everything that we do, the videos? Did it help you in any way? Why not think of a donation? Donations help us keep our show on the air, buy new equipment. Everything that is donated is used somehow in making this show possible. And all the videos that I post in pretty big quantities on YouTube every week. So why not think about it? You can send your PayPal donation to the Yahoo address that you see right here, and it keeps the show on the air, helps me buy new equipment, and continue just having fun doing these live shows for you. Now, we have a number of questions today, and of course, we're going to start with a few questions about browsers. And if you guys let me just for 2 seconds, I forgot my drink, and I know I'll need it because I talk a lot. And because I talk a lot, I tend to get really kind of a little thirsty, and sometimes my voice goes away because I don't have anything to refresh myself. So today's drink is a must, thanks to a donation. I had one a few weeks ago, but I had another one today. Donation from a nice gentleman that said that for the donation I have to have a beer, and it's his request in exchange for the donation. So cheers, and have whatever you want, your drink, maybe tea, coffee, water, anything that pleases you. Okay, a few questions. I'm going to start with some questions here that I have. First, a comment from Tim Pritchard that's talking about browsers. We talked about browsers, and we do regularly. And he was mentioning, Tim Pritchard was mentioning that he likes Microsoft Edge, but he downloads a lot of videos, and some browsers have different add-ons that will download certain videos and another browser won't. So one browser will download something that another one won't. So I have all the main browsers and use them all. Each one have their purpose and uses, so I like them all. So, that's pretty much what I always say. The uses that you have for your browsers is very personal. So a lot of people like a certain browser for a certain plugin or a certain extension that they don't see anywhere else. Of course, the fact that Microsoft Edge does not have any plugins or extensions right now doesn't help. But I would guess that when Edge gets extensions this summer, when we get the anniversary update, that could be quite interesting, because a lot of people that aren't using Edge might start using it. I really like Edge, actually. A question, actually, several questions here. One from Lisa. Lisa says, I love your shows. I'm a 84-year-old retired woman, and I love every aspect of your live shows. I've learned a lot, and it keeps me alive and well in these old days. So I've heard some terms and some terminology, and one of the questions she has is, what is exactly a browser? So, Lisa, a browser is simply a piece of software that is made to navigate the internet. It's as simple as that. People have this saying, they click on the blue E and say, oh, I click on the internet. Well, you're not exactly clicking on the internet. You're clicking on a software that shows you internet web pages. So, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer, there's Google Chrome, there's Mozilla Firefox, there's Opera, there's dozens of other, there's Safari for Mac. These are all software. It's a program, a computer program that's has for a task of bringing up web pages on the internet, and that's it. It's as simple as that. And so, it's not because she does say that I hope it's not a dumb question, and it's not at all. There are no dumb questions, never. I go to clients that have these icons. For example, they use Internet Explorer, and they see the Google Chrome icon, and they're like, what is that? Well, it's equivalent to Internet Explorer, but it's made by Google, and it's made for you to go to the internet, see the web, mainly. That's the thing. So basically, a browser is that. Now, the second question that comes, and I've just had a little reply for that. Why choose Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Opera, or Edge? What would one have that others don't, or is one any better than any other? Okay, here's the thing. Internet Explorer 11 isn't too bad, actually, but it's not usually the one that I prefer. I am presently using personally Microsoft Edge quite a lot, and am really enjoying the way it works. It's pretty secure, and it's a pretty good browser. It's very fast, but for a long time I've been using Google Chrome, which was my main browser for years before Edge ever appeared. So why would one get one browser over the other? Well, exactly what our friend Tim Pritchard just said not long ago in his comments. Some browsers have what we call extensions that are available that do things that other browsers don't. So, for example, you can have a Chrome extension that does a certain thing on the web, block ads, is an example, or maybe download videos. That's a very popular thing also. And sometimes they're not available in other browsers because they're specific for each browser. Each browser needs different types of plugins. So often somebody that's making a plugin will do it for either several browsers, or they'll do it just for one. And so you'll have to use that browser to have these features. Now, I used Chrome a lot because one of the things that I liked about Chrome is that it lets me sync all my favorites, everything that I have in favorites and in the different folders of all my bookmarks that I have. They synchronize all together. And the reason why is because Chrome made by Google, and Google, well, I use Google products. I do use Google Gmail. So everything syncs in my Chrome browser everywhere, thanks to the fact that Google Chrome lets me sign into my account, my Gmail account, and knows all my favorites and everything, and they sync everywhere. So it's cool because I can go on a new computer, install Google Chrome, log into my Gmail, and voila, the bookmarks are there. Everything that I want, that I need, in the same order. Now, that's something that's nice on Edge. If you have multiple Windows 10 machines, Edge will sync between machines your favorites. So that's also something nice, but it's not an extension or anything, but it goes through the Microsoft account if you are on a Microsoft account. So, it's very much of a personal thing which browser you use. I was talking this morning about how Internet Explorer is still very popular. And one of the things that people tell me right away is, oh, why are people using Internet Explorer? And the first thing that I always say is, well, it's there. It's in your Windows machine right there on the desktop. So for a lot of people, there's no one, they don't understand why they should use anything else, because it works and it does the job that they want. So you know what, whatever browser you use, because there's always somebody somewhere that's going to say, oh, you're using Internet Explorer, that's crappy, use something else. You know what, if you use Internet Explorer 11 and you like it, that's fine, and that's all I have to say, because it does what you want, and that's the only important thing. We have to stop listening sometimes to what everybody's saying everywhere. Just use what is your favorite, and that's it. One question from Francis, that is located in the state of New Mexico in the United States. Love your shows, love your videos. I don't know if you've posted a video about this, but I got a question. I've got lots and lots of Internet Explorer favorites, and now I started using Edge and really like it. Can I import my Internet Explorer favorites into Edge? Yes, you can. To do that, you just use your Edge browser. And on the upper right corner of your screen, you have 3 little dots, which means there's more options. And here, you will go into the bottom settings. And from the settings, you will go, of course, to view favorite settings. And here you've got import. Import favorites. Make sure that you have a check mark on Internet Explorer. For those that are using Chrome, Google Chrome. Coming this summer, and the anniversary update, Firefox will also be part of the import. So for those that are on Firefox. So basically, just put the check mark, import your favorites. They're all going to come back here. That's basically what I did. I checked import favorites for Chrome in my case, and it brought all the Chrome favorites, and I've got the favorites bar at the top. And by the way, while I'm here, if you like, I like having the favorites bar at the top, because I always put the top websites that I visit right here. They're easy to access. So why not turn on show the favorites bar? It's going to give you all of your favorites, and you can just slide the favorites that you want accordingly. And it is nice because all your favorite websites are going to be easy to access. And of course, when you want to check more, there's a little arrow here on the right side of the browser's favorites bar that gives you all the other favorites that you might have. So it's as easy as that, and hope that we're able to easily import your browser favorites. Okay, let's continue on here with other questions. And in another question, there's first there's Steve Mail, that is a regular contributor to our questions. He says that he's been using Internet Explorer for the last few months as his main browser. When viewing live content on YouTube, during my show, for example, it buffers out several times, so I would just click on the link again. This is the only complaint that I have with Internet Explorer 11. When I view your shows with Firefox and in the past Google Chrome, I almost never had the feed buffer. Is there that big of a difference since the connection to the internet is the same? I also noticed that when I'm using 64-bit version, it happens as well. Well, you know what? It all has to do with the way that probably Internet Explorer renders the video of YouTube. You know what? There's when the internet connection is at a limit. You know, I'm sending out right now 720p HD content. It could be worse. I could be sending 1080p, which would be even higher quality. And the more you send out the quality, the more data is actually sent back to your computer. So in a typical show like this, 90 minutes, I will typically run at least 1.5 gig of upload to you guys, roughly. And you guys, of course, receive roughly the same amount of data, 1.5 gig. Now, when your internet connection is at a certain limit, it could be that because you're mentioning that even though it rarely does it, it still does it a little bit on Chrome and on other browsers. One of the things is each browser renders a video in a different way. And some use the web standards more than others. And Internet Explorer is one of those browsers that often has a lot of its own extensions or its own way of rendering stuff that is different from other browsers. I often have people, you know, some of my clients are web designers, and they always tell me how they're, you know, they get tired of the fact that they have to optimize always for Internet Explorer because it's different from Chrome and Firefox. So it could be the way that Internet Explorer is actually receiving. One of the things that I think you can do when you're on YouTube, and I'll check to make a video about this, you can select the way that you're receiving your YouTube videos. It could be one of the differences that I would see. It could be that Internet Explorer 11 is actually watching the videos on YouTube through Flash, which is integrated inside it, while Chrome or Firefox might actually play it in HTML5. And so that would make a difference. Flash Player is kind of a, you know, for video playing is kind of a little heavy. So if you're at a little a limit in its capability, or if your computer is doing other things, it might actually make the Internet Explorer browser buffer more. So these are all possibilities, the way that it's actually playing. But when you're playing videos on YouTube, I believe you can select the way that you are viewing it. And I'll make actually a video on that and show you how to change the internet, the YouTube's feed. What type of feed? You know, is it Flash Player? Is it? It sends in many different formats. YouTube can send, I believe, in 5 or 6 different video formats. So we'll check it out. Maybe if you'll change the video format from the stream, it can change everything and it's going to stop buffering for some reason. Another question about YouTube, and this one comes from Shamir. Shamir says that he lives in Bangalore, India, likes my shows and always watches my live shows the morning after when he wakes up, and he really enjoys my show. Now, he says, can you explain to me why sometimes on some videos it says content cannot be viewed in your country? Why is some content not available? And how come some countries cannot view some videos? Thanks for your answer. Well, it all has to do with copyright. Copyright is a complex and idiot thing in many, many respects. I understand one basics of copyright. It's normal to have a certain standard way of doing things so that people don't have their content stolen. For example, of course, my shows are all copyrighted by default. You know, this is a default. Somebody creates something. You don't even have to say it's copyrighted. In Canada, when you create a show, you create something like I'm doing right now, it is copyrighted. This is my content. It is mine. And so basically, I could, if I want, go further and register everything in a certain way with a company name and say, I want only people from Canada and the United States and the UK to view my content, nobody else around the world. I'm not giving the rights for other people around the world to view this. Basically, that's what's happening. Some videos are made, my videos are made for a worldwide audience. I want to reach everybody around the world. That's what I want. That's my desire. That's why it's visible everywhere. Some content is made for specific areas. So some content, for example, a lot of US content is made by US networks that don't care, they don't want you to view it beyond the border of the United States. So they'll instruct YouTube, look, this is copyrighted, it's for the US only. I don't want to have anything to do with other countries. I can actually even go in this show and in the recorded video, I could just go into the settings, and there's a huge amount of settings in YouTube that I can actually say, well, I want this only for people that are in certain countries. I want this content to be viewed only for people that, for example, I have the possibility in YouTube to say, if you have an ad block, I don't want to show you my videos. This option I don't use. It could be an option I could use because I could say, well, the hell with it. If you don't want me to get paid by ads, I'm going to block the content. So these are options, and I don't turn them on because I don't believe in that way of doing things. I know a lot of you are using ad blockers, and to some point, the ad blockers are actually removing part of my revenue. So I'm making something for some people that have an ad block, and they might, I've been helped by one of my videos, for example, but I will never get a penny from that because your ad block is there and it removes the ads from my videos. So, that's why I always prone whitelisting, because whitelisting means you can say for a certain website, well, on this website, don't block the ads. Like that, the person that makes that content still receives, but on the other sites, you still have ad block. So that's something that I believe should be taught a little more. Add some exceptions to the content creation so that, people can earn a decent life with that. So all copyright stuff, and some are worse than other. I've had a lot of music videos. Sometimes there's playlists of videos, for example. I remember having playlists of videos and having artists, and half of the videos were blocked in my country. I remember viewing David Bowie videos a few months ago, and basically the playlist that person put online, half of it was not available in my country, and it was BMG Music or music industry that wanted to block by region. You have another question, which is, I've seen some people download music from YouTube in MP3 formats, and I wonder how they do that. There is a lot of way of downloading different audio stuff in MP3 from YouTube. There are add-ons to browsers, so there are some add-ons that are made for the just downloading audio from videos. So one of the things you got to know about these is that let me just check one of them here. I'm wondering about anybody using something to download audio from YouTube that they can suggest that's safe. It's not something that I do, so I'm not really sure of any software. Download audio from YouTube. Let me just check here. There's a few things that I see here, which one is YouTube to MP3 converter. Let me check that. Does it look pretty much good? Yeah. Basically, that one is that seems to be not too bad. Listen to youtube.com. What it does is they have a YouTube app that extracts YouTube videos and MP3s. But I like, something that somebody can tell me that it's safe. If anybody is using one of those, let me know. That could be something that some people would like. And okay, Tim Robinson just answered. YTD downloader has a built-in option to capture to audio format. Thanks, Tim Robinson, suggesting YTD. I'm gonna check it out. Downloader. Out here. YTD downloader. Let's check it out. So that could be an option. YTD downloader. Yep, free downloader. So the only problem with YTD downloader and does seem to have a lot of risk for adware, apparently. Have you had any problems with YTD downloader, my friend? Yeah, YTD downloader tracks internet browsing activity and collects various software and hardware information. Yeah, it's kind of, I see a few sites here that are putting it into a bad category for adware or malware. So I don't know. Have you had any problems with it, Tim? Just by curiosity. Alexander is saying, sent me a link, which is, oh, this looks nice. So you just put the link. So basically, let's just check it out here. I'm gonna take one video link, see if it works well. So yeah. So basically, I take the link to the video, copy, and here I go, paste. Boop. What does it do? So if it does work, there's a website. Yeah, it works fine. Oh, this is nice. So basically, go to savefrom.net. Savefrom.net. Don't click here anything. And don't click any, this is what I hate about some of these websites. They have bad stuff on their screens. Don't click anything on this page. All you do is insert the link of a YouTube video here. Click this little arrow here, and you'll be able to download in MP4 and in FLV web audio, all sorts of, but be careful because this website is half malicious in its way of doing things, but it does work. It does work. Now, the problem with that is that the problem with that here is that YouTube downloader, okay, YouTube doesn't like you to do that. And that's one thing you need to actually understand, is that many of these downloaders, okay, work for a short period of time because YouTube changes its way. Downloading audio or downloading the videos from YouTube is something that YouTube does not want you to do. So basically, if you're doing that, it's always kind of a risk, and always remember that YouTube kind of doesn't like it. So it's possible that it doesn't work well. But you know, a lot of people actually do it. And I know it's very popular. A lot of people will take the music, for example, and download it in songs. Also remember one thing is that a lot of these have bad audio. Now some are better than others, but some of them have bad audio. Then we have a question from Jason. So Jason says, I've been watching a few of your YouTube channels and you seem to be quite popular on many of them. And I was wondering, because I want to start a YouTube channel that would talk about artists, musical artists. There wouldn't be really any songs or anything, but more of a history like on each artist, from old time rock and roll to today's artists, say like Lady Gaga. And I have ideas for videos and for content that could be interesting, I think, to viewers. Do you have any tips, tricks for me to get a channel running as fast as possible? Okay, the first thing that that happens with a YouTube channel is that today, starting a new YouTube channel today is actually more of a problem. It's more difficult than starting a YouTube channel, say, a year or two ago. When I started, you could have a URL, a specific URL. So for example, if I started, say, let's say I wanted to do a beer and wine channel, I could have youtube.com/beer and wine, or beer and wine taste, or, you know, have the specific name right away. Now, YouTube decided to stop that and allow you to have your channel name only when you get to 500 subscribers. And this is a new rule that makes it harder for anyone that wants to start a channel from actually getting popular, because part of the reason you're getting popular is because you can immediately ID the name of the channel, and it's easier to share also. You can just say, well, you know, like this channel, for example, youtube.com/theofficial Windows 8. I've started my new Windows 10 channel, which is a string of characters. It doesn't have a name yet. And even though I've had like 130 subscribers in 24 hours, I'm still not at 500. So it will require me to wait until I have 500 to have the official channel name and reserve it. So that doesn't help. But that said, tips like work hard, post videos regularly. One of the biggest problems I see with most channels, they don't post much. Or they post for a month and a half, and they just then stop because they see, well, you know, nobody's watching. Well, the thing is, unless you've got a viral video or you've got somebody that backs you up and talks about you, your YouTube channel is going to take time to come up from the grave of YouTube. That's for sure. You're asking me what's monetization, how does it work? Monetization is done through a program called AdSense. It is Google's own monetization stuff that is linked to your YouTube channel. In your YouTube channel, you've got to apply for an AdSense account. When you're approved, you're going to have a few steps to go through, including a way that they can pay you. AdSense pays when you get to $100. So as soon as you get $100 in there, around the 21st of each month, you will get money. So that's linked to your YouTube channel. Of course, monetization goes with views and video ads. So if people watch an ad, for example, you get paid. If the people just watch half of an ad and they click, not skip the ad, you don't get paid. Some people can click on banners or stuff like that. So it's through like that system that people get paid. Don't cheat. YouTube knows when you're cheating. It's very, very simple. So if you click your own ads, you're going to get banned from AdSense. If you have people always watching your ads, at some point AdSense stops monetizing the ads watched by certain IP addresses. So somebody that would, for example, watch my videos and watch videos all the time and leave all the ads there playing, at some point the monetization will stop from that place, because they're going to say, well, that they watch an ad or two, it might be normal, but that they watch 300 ads a week is not normal. It's not so there's a cleanup that YouTube does. They kind of know that the ads are relevant or not. And so in AdSense, there's a lot of, it's pretty amazing how they check out and try to sense basically the true views of videos and ads and the fake ones. Apart from that, you know what? Even if you're not popular for the first 6 months, don't stop. You know what? A few of my channels were for the first year rather dead. And suddenly one day you post a video and it gives it momentum suddenly. That's what happened to my Windows channel. First few weeks, nothing. Then what gave me momentum in my case is a new Windows release. People were curious, and that was when Windows 8 actually arrived on the market. So my videos were at a certain viewpoint. Then Windows 8 appears, and I start talking about Windows 8, and views just went skyrocket. I had the same effect when Windows 10 was released in July of last year. My views went skyrocket. They'll come down a little because what's going to happen is that there's the momentum of all the people that want to know, but then you're going to keep a certain number, so it's going to go back down, but it doesn't go back down to the level you were. It stays higher. So post content, try to talk about stuff that's new ideas, new things. So if you're talking about artists, I would talk about, hey, did you see the news this week? For example, last week would have been, hey, Prince died. And immediately post something about this. And you would get views because people are like, hey, Prince died, and you're going to search on the web, and they're going to find, I'm going to find, you're going to find all the things that are pertinent, that people want to know about. So that's basically what's going to happen. So try to be as relevant with new stuff, and just make entertaining videos. Try to build a community. There's a way of doing a community, like for example, on my shortwave radio channel, there's kind of a community between me and other radio and similar related stuff. So basically other radio channels that might be slightly like I do, but not necessarily, and stuff like that. So and all I can say is don't quit, and you'll see. But I gotta say, the YouTube is at a point where it's getting less interesting, and I see it here too. I have a lot of I look at the AdSense stuff here, and I can tell you that ain't paying like it used to pay a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. It's getting really a major problem, and I think a lot of content creators are going to start to pull out of YouTube at some point because of just low ad revenue. That's really horrible, basically. And good luck. And who knows, you might have live shows and be a star and have a lot of people watching. It's always cool, you know. I like what I do because, you know, a lot of people watching. I get these nice comments. People love my content. It's really cool. Okay, web hosting. We have Jennifer. Jennifer is starting a business and she is wondering about doing an online presence. So the question she has, is there free hosting that I can use that could be cool? Is it better to have paid hosting? What are the differences? And what about if I want an online store and do business and accept credit cards and stuff? What can I expect from that? So here's the thing. There's websites that have free hosting. Yes, true. There's a few websites that have free hosting. That means you create yourself a little website and you put it in there, and it typically doesn't cost you $0 a month. That has a major flaw, or several. Sometimes they have ads in your website that you can't control anything about. You won't have your own URL. So that means, say you're selling flowers and you would like to call yourself prettyflowers.com. Free hosting, you won't have your own domain name. They usually don't accept using your own domain name. So you can't have, you know, prettyflowers.com because the free hosting doesn't allow that. But you'll have something like, I don't know, something like free.ad.prettyflowers.net. You know, something weird like that. And you're going to say like, wow, okay, that's the website address. So it has several things that aren't nice. And I would say for somebody that's starting his business, free hosting is not to be used. Free hosting is for the average Joe that just wants to have a little website on his own and that doesn't want to pay because basically they're not making money or anything with it. They're just having fun. Now, free hosting for that could be an interesting idea. Paid hosting will often give you domain name. What's a domain name? Google.com is a domain name. It's yourname.com something. So once again, you think, oh, prettyflowers.com, I want to have that. Well, when you have paid hosting, usually they'll say, when you open your account, oh, you know, for $12, you can have your own domain name. So then you'll have to enter your domain name and see if it's available. And they're just going to buy it for you. With, of course, you're going to pay for it. And you'll have your website with no ads because you're paying for the hosting. So you'll have the website you desire, and you'll have your own prettyflowers.com website. So that, of course, gives you a more official presence on the web and will, of course, require you to do, depending on the hosting service, more or less easy to do. So an example of a website that is a paid host, but that is one of the easiest, I would say, to use, because I've used it in the past, Squarespace. Squarespace.com is paid hosting, but it has one major feature that's really cool. They have tons and tons of all sorts of templates that you can already use and just change what you want. You can start from scratch. It's as easy as, okay, I want this picture on the upper right. You just slide it there, and here it goes. And put the text here and do. So it's easy for even somebody that has very little skills to actually create a website. It all depends, like I say, on what you want to do. If you're paying someone for the website, creating a website in different formats, there could be a website from there's several programs that actually have websites that you could put on, like Dreamweaver and stuff like that. There's I'm trying to remember one that's very popular to do blogs and stuff, and just forgot the name. So if somebody else is doing it for you, what I would say is, if somebody else doing it for you, you could have paid hosting, but at another place where you just upload your website into a spot, often by FTP, and link everything. And so depending on what you want. Online store, most paid hosting will give you different types of services. So you'll have paid hosting with just a website, but most places will have paid hosting with, okay, we offer PayPal, credit card, debit payment system for you. Squarespace does it, by the way. Squarespace does have that format. So if you're looking at something, and if you're looking at making it yourself, what's nice with Squarespace is that it's simple. Nothing is complicated. They handle everything for you, even invoicing. That's pretty amazing. But Squarespace is a little more expensive than some paid hosting because they do everything for you. So it depends where you stand. But you're starting your business, definitely a paid hosting. That's the minimum to do. Online store, check with each services that host your website. Some have more features than other. And Squarespace is a great one because it's a little more costly than a lot of other places, but it does pretty much do whatever you want. So that's pretty cool for that. It is true some ISPs offer free hosting of a small personal site. It's very basic, but it's true that some ISPs do give the possibility. Here in my ISP used to do that, but I think they don't do it anymore. It used to be something standard, but a lot of ISPs have stopped doing the free hosting of a basic website here. But there's probably some ISPs that still do, as Tim Robinson is mentioning here, and that's true. There are some that actually do have that available. Okay, random questions. We have Jeremy that says, bought a new computer, going crazy. I set the clock to local time. I live in New York. And after a few minutes to a few hours, depending on the days, clock is set back 3 hours. And I don't understand. Say it's 3 p.m. I set the time. 15 minutes later, I look, it could be saying that it's noon. What's happening? Well, simple. Clock's off by 3 hours. Windows has an automatic clock setting. And what happens is click on your clock at the bottom right of your screen. And once you're there, you will go into date and time settings. Make sure that your time zone is correct. That's where it's happening, the time zone. Okay, sorry guys, I know that the camera is sometimes moving out of focus, and I do see the problem here. Sorry for that. You have to change your time zone here. Your time zone for New York is UTC -5 Eastern Time, US and Canada, same as here in Montreal. You have to put that there. You are actually right now in -8, I believe, which is Pacific time. You probably are in specific time. You know what? By default, Windows in English will often put you in the Pacific time zone. So just change it for Eastern time zone. You want to go into -5 Eastern time, US and Canada. It's a common problem a lot of people go crazy about. It's just because Windows trying to check what time it is and set your clock for you. The problem is that if you're not in the right time zone, it doesn't set the clock correctly. Another question you have, you got a Windows 10 computer. Can I install Classic Shell on a Windows 10 computer? I know that it was available for Windows 8. I'm not sure if it works on Windows 10. I would like to have a Windows 7 style menu back. Yep, Classic Shell on Windows 10 works fine. Just go and download it and choose Windows 7 Classic style look, and it's going to work fine. And one last question that you have is your wife is wondering if she should get a tablet, like an iPad, or a computer laptop for surfing the web and for everyday use. What are the advantages of one over the other, and what would decide towards one or the other? Thanks for everything you do. You are an amazing man. Thank you very much. Nice to have these compliments. Feels good to have compliments, eh? Really nice. Okay. It depends what she does on the computer. If the only thing she does is, go to some websites, read email, maybe do some Skype, or maybe, very basic stuff, a tablet could be quite all right, like an iPad or an Android tablet, because it will do everything she wants. And it's, very portable. A computer does more. So if she wants to write text, if she decides that she wants to work on her device, write documents, open documents from clients and stuff like that, computer might actually be a better idea because it does more in general. With the addition of Office on iPad and wireless keyboards, you can manage on a tablet device. But if you do a lot of it, and if you do write a lot, probably you're answering the question of, I will get a laptop, which will probably give you more for what you want to do. And think about something also. You're mentioning iPad. Remember that for the same price of an iPad, okay, say you buy the regular iPad, which is around $529 or something. Regular iPad at $529, you'll get a laptop that does more and that installs the same programs that you want. On a tablet, you want to install necessarily the programs you're using on a PC. It doesn't work like that. So it all depends on what you do. So decide with what you do, and will you want to have it as portable as possible? That's also something you should check for. So tablet versus computer, it will really depend what you do with it. That's very important. Not all tablets, the iPad doesn't necessarily do everything you want. It does have some drawbacks. You can't plug in a USB key or stuff like that. So, but it is a nice device. So it will all depend on what she wants to do. And, on security, of course, an iPad is very secure due to its design of a very closed system. So that's also something to check for. But whatever choice, it all depends on what she will do. That's for sure. Nice email from Noel in Ireland that wants to thank me for fixing his Chrome browser. Thank you very much, my friend. and it's nice to have everybody watching. A question from Philip. Philip says, I want to know a little more about you. I admire all you do, and the questions that follow are purely for my information. I am curious about, first of all, my tech guy duties versus YouTube. Here's the thing. My tech guy duties were 90% of everything I did, and pretty much I lived my life with that. When I got into YouTube and monetization kicked in and I started getting bigger amounts, I took a lot of my tech guy duties and transferred that in time for YouTube stuff. Now I am at a point right now where I think I will have to take more time back in my tech guy duties and less for YouTube, because in the past year, YouTube revenues have been plummeting regularly. And so I have to decide, I've been trying different things to maintain the level of monetization and of money. But unfortunately, a guy has to live, pay his rent, pay the bills, pay the credit cards. And so what's happening right now is that I will probably go a little more into the tech guy and probably slow down on the YouTube. So if at some point you see that I post a little less videos, it's because my tech guy duties are taking more time. And it's something I will have to do unless I find a way of monetizing somehow more of what I do online. I'm trying to think about things because I do have a nice following. I do have a certain, popularity online. So there must be something I can also do. I'm thinking of maybe promotional material and selling a few things. I don't know yet. I'm checking out all the options, but for now, that I'm going to probably increase my tech guy duties again and lower my YouTube output, although I'll try to keep as much as I can, try to keep the Tuesday shows. And, we'll see with the weeks and months that are coming. Second question you have is, when did you start doing stuff on YouTube, and why did you do so? Okay, my first contact with YouTube video is probably somewhere in 2007. Not very far from the start of YouTube itself. Because I thought, hey, this is cool, a platform where I can post videos about stuff that I like. And mainly my first channel was a channel about shortwave radio. That was my first channel ever. And of course, back then, we're not talking about monetization. It didn't exist here until somewhere in 2011 or something like that. 2010, 2011, that's where monetization arrived here. And when I was first contacted by YouTube for monetization, I started thinking, hey, I can maybe make money with videos. That's interesting. And that's where my output of videos started to increase at a very fast pace, because I thought, well, maybe I can do something with this. Maybe I can do a living with this. And so that's why my output increased suddenly, because I wanted to do videos. It was kind of cool. When you tell someone, oh, what do you do for your living? Oh, I'm a YouTuber. It's like everybody just looks at you and it's like, wow, this is so cool. Yeah. And that's part of what I did. My output of video really, really increased starting when monetization was available. And you say that you have your 14-year-old son that's thinking of going into the tech guy business. He seems pretty good with the computers, and he did fix a few of the computers at home. What is needed? What is needed to be a good tech guy? The first rule of a tech guy: patience. Patience. I have a lot of it, and that's why I am a tech guy, because it is very demanding, especially if you're a tech guy with the average Joe. And that's what I am, the tech guy. Most of my clients, they are average men and women that have computer problems. Patience is required. Patience of course, because of the computer, you have to wait all the time about, for something. Then, of course, knowledge is very important. You have to know as much as you can. You have to always be up to date, all the time, all the time. You have to know the latest technology. You have to know the latest things, because that's what you'll be confronted with. And your clients are going to call you and say, oh, I've got Windows 10. Well, you've got to go there and show that you know Windows 10 and you're an expert in Windows 10, like you were in Windows 8 and Windows 7 and Windows XP and Windows 98. That means you're always studying. You're always working on improving the knowledge you have. It's something that I always did. And that means you got to love what you're doing. You got to love talking about technology. You got to love playing with the technology. You got to buy the technology in order to increase your knowledge. Oh, iPads are out. Well, I needed an iPad. iPhones, Android stuff, everything. Well, if you want to know what you're talking about, you got to buy some of that technology and play with it also. And you know what? One of the biggest mistakes of a lot of tech guys, and I would say the majority of them, is trying to impose their view of technology to you. And that is a big mistake. If you're that type of tech guy, you're going to have a hard time doing your tech guy duties. You are there to help people with what they have and what they do, not to change their habits or anything. If what they do is complex, but it works, it works. Don't try to change that habit, because you'll be called 100 times because they just don't know what to do anymore. So you gotta, it's like the basics of pretty much everything. Start by loving what you do, have a lot of patience, and hey, go ahead. If that's what you wish, that's what you'd like, that could be a really nice thing. One question I want to answer here from Steve Martin that asked, what happened to 14.332 Insider Preview, my review of it? Well, it's very simple. 14.332 is, I can't install it. Doesn't work. Every time I've tried different methods. I've tried at least 10 times to install it. And at 90%, somewhere in 90%, it crashes. And there's nothing. I haven't found any ways of having it installed. It has some kind of core blue screen of death issue, and it just doesn't want to work. So that's why the review wasn't arriving. So I guess, the review will be in the next Insider Preview. 14.332 is impossible to install for me. Okay, we have a question by Brandon. Brandon says, okay, here's the thing. I would like to have speakers all around my home play music. I'm a little bit at a loss as to what to choose. I've seen Bose speakers. That seems nice. I've also seen some other types of speakers like Sonos. Can you just help me a little bit? I've seen Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. What's the difference? Would one be better than the other? Okay, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth speakers have a different way of working. Okay, Wi-Fi speakers simply will connect to your router. So if you have a router already, you can put the Wi-Fi speaker on the router. And what's going to do is that now any computer that's on your own network can play music through that speaker, because it's like a connected device in your network. Bluetooth will connect directly to a device or a computer. So that means that you usually have to be close to the device. Bluetooth has a very short range of action. So if, for example, your idea of listening to music is I want to play, I want my, my desktop in my office to play music in my kitchen speaker, you're better off with Wi-Fi speakers because they will work through the network. On Bluetooth, there's a good chance, especially if it's a little far away between the two rooms, there's a good chance it's not going to work or it's going to chop or stop all the time. So Wi-Fi are usually better than Bluetooth. It all depends on what you want to do. If it's in the same room, Bluetooth speakers probably work right. And another thing that people sometimes don't understand about Bluetooth is that a lot of laptops don't have Bluetooth. And so they come home with Bluetooth speakers and like, I don't know how to set this up. And thing is, you have to add a little something about Bluetooth. And it's, Bluetooth is something, a little dongle that you add on a computer that you don't have it. And so I'm sorry if I was a little distracted here. So I'm looking at some emails that are coming in. So I would go with Wi-Fi. Sonos has some nice stuff and a lot of Wi-Fi stuff. And check it out. But if you have Bluetooth and it's all going to be in the same room, well, Bluetooth speakers could also do the job, but they are often less expensive. So it might be one reason why you're looking more at Bluetooth stuff also. Another question that you have is, I have my laptop computer. I'd like to send the image of the computer to my TV. Now, it's not a smart TV, but it's a model that has HDMI ports on it. And I do plug a HDMI cable right now, but having a 30 feet HDMI cable isn't something I really like to have in my living room. Is there something like HDMI or wireless HDMI? Yes, there is. There are wireless HDMI stuff that you can buy. They are basically like little dongles that connect to a USB port on your laptop and to your TV HDMI port. And basically, they will send wireless image HDMI through the devices. They're a little expensive, so check it out if you want. There is wireless HDMI, but it's not necessarily. I'd stick personally. I know it's not super nice. I'd stick with the cable. I'd stick with the cable. I understand because sometimes, it might be your wife saying, "Hey, what's that big cable in the living room?" But I'd stick with the cable. And your last question is an interesting question that was an issue. We talked about that so much a long time ago. You were reading an article in a science magazine about electromagnetic waves and energy coming from devices and how it could affect our health. I'd like to have your input on that. Electromagnetic fields and your health. Well, one of the first things is there's nothing that proves that there is a problem there. So nobody has ever shown, as of yet, officially, that having electromagnetic waves or fields around you affects your health in general. I've been doing so many things and playing around with so much technology in such a long time. I do not think it really changes much. I do not think there's a danger in using devices or anything. But that's my personal opinion. And if you look at, one thing that I did see, I read a lot of things about radio and amateur radio stuff. And there seems to be, for example, on amateur radio side, a slight increase in leukemia that is a little bit higher than general population for amateur radio operators. But then again, it's not significant enough to really be, is it because of playing around with electronic devices and having all sorts of electromagnetic fields around you? Don't know. So, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about it. And personally, I don't think there's much problem with that, basically. We have a question, interesting question from David. David says, hi, I've stumbled across your retro gaming channel. I know it's you, it's your voice, you're talking about old games. And of course, I've seen that you've got some old computers also. I was wondering how you plug them to your TV. I've got an Amiga 500, don't have any monitors. How do I plug it? I'd like to know first. Well, the Amiga 500 on a modern TV, you will have to get yourself a, it's an RF modulator and a video out cartridge that plugs into the user port and the back of the Amiga. So the reason why I have image here is because I used that output on my TV here. If I wouldn't use that, it's real complicated to get images out of that computer to modern devices because it doesn't have the standards of today. So, you know, the output, the video output of an Amiga 500 is equivalent, I believe, to something like an EGA device. So, you know, in old PCs, there was EGA, and actually you're talking about an old PC that is an EGA output, is not compatible with, you know, VGA monitors today for computers. So you'll have to have some kind of output. So you'll have to try, and the best place probably for that is on eBay, the video output cartridge for TV that is for the Amiga 500. I think that's your best bet. Another thing that I would probably look at, if maybe somebody could have made one somewhere, is there a adapter that brings your device? No, is there an adapter that brings your EGA or your that connector from the Amiga 500 to HDMI or some modern TV stuff? I don't know, but I think your best bet is to get that cartridge for the Amiga 500. Now, you're mentioning that you have a Commodore 64 but don't have a disk drive for it. That's fun, you know, talking about old computers. And you know that there are D64 images thanks to my retro channel. How would I play any of these games on my computer? Is there a way to hook up my PC and my Commodore 64? Two things you can do. There's a cable called the XE1541 cable that is available. But for that, you need to have an old computer with a parallel port. So you need to have some old computer. And it really needs to be old because some of the later models that were done with parallel ports are incompatible with that cable. What that cable does, and with a software that comes with it, which is a DOS software, you have the possibility to send the D64 images into the Commodore 64. So it's like your PC basically becomes a disk drive, and it emulates a disk drive. So you can use these images and play them on your Commodore 64. But what I would look at more intensely, and I'm actually thinking about it also here, is look at something that is a adapter. It's a little adapter that you can actually plug into the back port of the Commodore 64 where the disk drive plugs in usually. And what it does is that little adapter, you have a SD card reader, you put your D64 images in there, and it transformed the Commodore 64. It's like having a disk drive, but it's a small device that has a little memory card, and you could put hundreds and hundreds of games and load them. By the way, same thing is available for Amiga 500, the Atari ST also. It's around $100, but it replaces old drives, and I think it's a better offering. And the last question you have an old PC XT that still works, but don't have any EGA screens anymore to have it working. What can you do about that? You know what? Go on eBay or go to a flea market where they sell real old computer stuff, and simply get yourself a VGA card meant for that old XT PC. They exist. If you don't find one, go on eBay. There's tons of them. Just write PC XT VGA video card, and take one cheap VGA video card. What that will do is that your PC will suddenly become compatible with today's monitors. So you'll be able to use a computer monitor today with VGA input on that old XT. That's, I think, the best bet for that old XT if you want it working. Okay, hope you enjoy our show today. Really nice to have you on board. And we're going to answer a question that just arrived before we continue on the older ones and that I want to see. So Mary Ellen Parker says, Joe, thanks for taking my question on my email concerns last week. Your answers helped so much. I watched your video on cookies, and I would like to know if cookies slow down your computer, and what are the types of cookies, like, for example, a third-party cookie from other types. Love your show and video. They're so helpful. So here's the thing. Cookies do not slow down your computer. There's this really big idea of, oh, let's erase temporary files, let's erase cookies, let's erase everything. Slows down your machine. It does not. It does not. Stop going crazy over that, people. It doesn't matter. It's some of the, I call it the probably urban myths of some sort. People share that information and say, oh, it slows down. It's like, no, it doesn't. Yeah, there are different types of cookies. For example, a third-party cookie means that, say you are on a website. The website will have is cookie in your computer, but it will also have probably third-party cookies, meaning that website is partnered with a analytics company that also injects a cookie. So that's a third-party cookie, means that from somebody else than the main website itself, and it will add its own cookie for different reasons. Checking statistics, like how many times you visited the website. It could be third-party cookies because they want to place ads or have different types of ads on the website. So sometimes the ads don't come from the website you are at. They come from an ad network. And the ad network will have its cookies. So that's a third-party cookie. So that's basically it. It simply means that somebody else is also adding cookies. And you know what? Just a scary thought is that on average, when you go on a website, on average, you'll get from anywhere from about 5 to 20 cookies, and you'll be scanned a dozen times just going to one website because they want to, place better ads for you and stuff like that. Just amazing when you think about it. And thanks, Mary Ellen, for that nice email. So, software, we have James that says, hi, I would like to know, I don't have a lot of money. I am into different types of working into different types of software, and basically, what James wants to know is there any equivalent? Because I don't have any money to pay $1,000 for Photoshop. Is there a Photoshop equivalent that's not expensive or free? Photoshop has an equivalent that is almost as powerful, and it's called GIMP. G-I-M-P, GIMP. So GIMP is available into gimp.org. It's an open source software, like Linux. And GIMP is really powerful. It has almost every type of image manipulation you can want. It will work. It has some compatibility with Photoshop images, and it's totally free. The only thing you'll need to know is how to work with GIMP. But apart from that, totally free, and it's an amazing piece of software. So get it, gimp.org, and it's really a Photoshop equivalent. It's very powerful. I've used it in the past, and it really replaces well any software. Good, compatible, and equivalent to Microsoft Office. Once again, you're saying don't really want to spend $150 for Office, and I'm not really interested in Office 365 as I have one computer only. Anything I could use that would open some Word and Excel files sometimes, but most of the time it's going to be for my personal use. Equivalent to MS Office, yes, of course. You've got two pieces of software that I like. OpenOffice has been around for a long time, and it's available from openoffice.org. That's a equivalent of, it has the equivalent of everything. So it has an equivalent of Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It has equivalents of pretty much everything. Another one that is cool is LibreOffice.org. LibreOffice.org is another one that's very good also. Whatever you choose, both are nice. The only drawback I've seen on those is if you open files that are extremely large. So a friend of mine, for example, had a Word file, which was a book, 500-page book. And what happened is that on Word, it opens instantly because Word only opens the part of the file that it needs to open. Here, it takes like 20 minutes before it's open because it wants to load the 500 pages in memory before. So it's kind of complicated for that. But for small, few-page documents, regular small spreadsheets, these work really well. LibreOffice by the Document Foundation or OpenOffice by Apache, both are great. And they are compatible somewhat with the real Microsoft Office. So check it out. I think it's pretty cool. And finally, you say that you'd like to have some kind of free audio software. Is there any free audio recording software that would work well and so that I could record, edit, and add tracks, for example? Once again, the Adobe software is a little expensive for me. Any ideas? Yep, free software, once again, for audio recording, Audacity. It's pretty powerful, and Audacity is amazingly nice. So you get it from audacityteam.org. It's a great recording software, totally free. And this will be something that you will like for sure. So sorry about the image going berserk again. So Audacity software, free of charge, and it does a really, really good job once again. That's for sure. So hope that you enjoy those new free software that pretty much replaces a lot. Okay. Tim Robinson says, Ajal, the only time it's beneficial to erase cookies is when you take up a lot of hard disk space. If they are erased, the web pages load more slowly. I know you know, but it's surprising how many people are afraid to keep them. You know, there's this really, really, really big thing going on everywhere about how cookies are the dangerous, bad stuff. And, you know, I get that everywhere I go. And cookies aren't that bad. Yeah, they do have some personal info, but not everything. And, you know, stop going crazy over cookies. Okay. Frederick, that is in Alberta, Canada. So fellow Canadian, says, hi, love your show. Watch it every time. It's really, really nice to have a dedicated tech guy to help the world community like you do. It's really appreciated. Now, you say that, first of all, you got a desktop computer and it has a 28-inch screen, and you've watched my videos on how to lower or increase the screen brightness, and you say you don't seem to have anything on your keyboard to do so. That is because on a desktop computer, since the screen is separate, the computer does not control the brightness of your screen. The screen you have has its own settings for that. So you have to go on your screen. You might have buttons around it, on the face, on the side, on the back. Some have touch style buttons so you can just sense. Look around your screen and you'll see that you'll be able to bring up a menu. And in that menu, you'll have screen brightness settings because you say it's way too bright. And I understand a new monitor is often set way too bright. And one of the things that I often do also on a monitor is really lower the brightness to just the amount that I want, because the brighter it is, the more it's going to fade with the years. So if you put it, you know, a little less brighter, you'll have a longer longevity of the lighting system in your screen. So on your screen, there's something. Check the buttons everywhere. You say that on your laptop, it's very dim and don't seem to have nothing you can do. You do see the function and the little sun-like with an up and down arrow, but it doesn't do anything. Is my computer broken? What's happening? That's because you're missing probably one of the main components of software that your computer should have. So go to your manufacturer's website and check out all the software that is delivered with your laptop. It will re-enable. Sometimes you only have the basic driver. For example, you'll have the Intel driver installed for your screen, but it lacks the stuff that lets your computer control the screen brightness and stuff like that. So go on your manufacturer's website, check graphics, display adapter drivers, and any software that comes with your laptop that you can download, install it, and you'll see at some point it's going to start working again. You're probably missing a software that enables you to control that. And you say that you have an old screen that you've plugged in, hasn't worked in over 8 years. When I plug it in, I see the letters, but they're all kind of weird, double, and kind of full of colors around them. Especially the brighter it is on the screen, the more I see that. Yeah, that's called bleeding. That's a fault or a problem in your screen. It could be that the brightness or the contrast is set way too high, so it bleeds everywhere around each characters. But so check it out. maybe lower the contrast, and it's going to fix the problem. But it could be also that your screen is kind of old and not really working well. One of the things that you got to understand is that a 10-year-old screen isn't meant for today's computers because it doesn't have the same level of precision in the pixels, and it's way different. So might be also a problem with that. Another question from Alex. Alex says, hi, I would like to know, what are the 3 most important computer failures from your tech guy experience? The three biggest computer failures in general are hard drive. If you have an old hard drive, old magnetic hard drives with the little head that's spinning, that's moving around. Hard drive, that is the number one, not the number one, but close to the number one failure. When a hard drive hits 3 years of age, it starts to get old, and there's some stats that were released that say that after 3 years, about 10% of hard drives fail every year. So the longer you've had your computer with the same hard drive, the closer it is to the edge. Doesn't mean that it's going to break, though, because I've got some hard drives here that are 10, 12, 15 years old, still work. But hard drives, power supplies, power adapters, that's also a problem. A lot of the power supplies for PCs today are cheap. So basically when there's a hit, maybe you had a thunderstorm or a surge in the power, and be careful, you know, people say, oh, I've got this $200 bar that protects me from that. Yeah, it protects you from some types of surge. But an everyday surge of only 30, 40, 50 volts, that doesn't protect you at all against that. And so your devices, your power supplies mostly, will take a hit from that. And sometimes it takes many hits before a power supply fails, but power adapters from laptops and power supplies are another problem with failure. And the third thing I would say for most is the screen. On the laptop, screen failures, although not super common, are common practice. I would, you know, one stat that I would like to know though is, are new LED screens better than old ones? And that's one of the things I'm not sure. I don't have any info on that stat, because, you know, for a long time, the way that a laptop had screen brightness was by a fluorescent tube at the edge of the screen that brings the screen up. And typically, you'll know if you have a fluorescent tube because when you turn on your computer, especially after several years, the whites look like more of a yellowish white than a real white. An LED screen white is wider. So, for example, my Toshiba is an LED screen. It's very white, but my old Toshiba is of course, a fluorescent display. So basically, the whites look like a kind of yellow. And so I don't know. I'd be interested to know if the newer LED screens actually last longer than the old fluorescent lit screen. That's one statistic that would be interesting to know, actually. So hey, already your questions, another Tech Guy show that's gone. Thanks everyone for your questions. Next week we're going to answer the first questions we're going to answer is from Viper Boy, Viper the Bookman. Send me a question today. We're going to answer that as the first question next week, and we will of course answer a few more questions. One from Frank that you sent me a question today, another one from Sophia, another one from Brian. So hey guys and girls, next week you're the first questions we're going to answer. Take care everyone. Always Nice to have you on board. 6 p.m. today. That's in an hour and a half from now, or a little less. We'll have a show, Learn the Tech. You know what? It's going to be some relaxed show. We're going to talk about astronomy, and we're going to talk about some technologies used in astronomy and how they detect stuff, how they can see stuff that we don't see, and maybe, you know, part of it's actually there's like 3 person that talked to me about space, and you know, nobody really knows is it okay for a technology show and so on. So I'll put a little tech aspect to it, but we're going to talk about, you know, space, the universe, the way we're exploring, the technologies we're using. I think that's going to be cool. So why not join us? 6 p.m. Eastern today, or 2200 hours Universal Time. Take care, everyone. See you next week, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, 1900 UTC, for next Learn the Tech Show. Not Learn the Tech Show, Live Tech Show. And already, you know, 31. It's incredible. I was writing the 31 on this slide, and I was like, wow. I'm not sure. I was thinking that there would be 31 shows. You know, I was thinking maybe it's not going to work out and there's going to be just 4 or 5 of them, but really cool. So join us a little later. The link will be posted in about 45 minutes for the show. Learn the Tech at 6 p.m. Take care, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.